feeling myself, but I stay in my lane. I know you thinking you nice, but you sounding the same. He need to switch up his flow, but I know that he ain't. Shit, maybe he want to and probably can't. He talk a lot, but ain't saying a word. He's 16, sounding like he be lacing his herbs. Reggie Rock told me time to just focus and spit. Quit worrying about the niggas abandoning shit. I dropped broken and they told me quit biting your tongue. The way you writing sounded like you forgot where you from. Say you from the hood, but you sound like a minister now. Yeah, I could take it there, but shit, I just like how this sound. I should address some of this drama, but letting it go. Shit, I can't keep playing with you niggas, I'm getting too old. The last words Bone told me I never forget. Quit playing with this music and do it to death. Shit, I came back.
You're now watching the End of the Bench podcast, Build and Destroy, hosted by your man, H-Rap-B. Thank you for tuning in. It's your man H-Rap coming at you live and direct late as usual. You know, CPT's in the building at all time. Thank you for tuning in. This is a program called Build and Destroy, where I attempt to build up the community and destroy the lies and the propaganda that surround the community. Thank you for tuning in. If you're watching on YouTube, do me a favor. Do me a favor. Hit that thumbs up button. Thank you. Subscribe and turn on that alert bell. It's a little bell. Take it to all. That lets you will get every notification. You get a notification every time I log on. I did not upload this to my website, so www.thaendofdabench.com. It won't be on there until later today. If you're on Facebook, hit that thumbs up. Tell a friend and tune in. Thank you. As I do every week, I acknowledge my ancestors. I am 50% Williams. I am 50% Pollard. That creates John Williams. Dolores Pollard created H-Rap-B. I'm in the building. Thank you to my parents. Rest in power to both of them. Without them, there is no me. Again, it's Tuesday. It is Tuesday. And every Tuesday, you see that on the bottom of the screen. Hello, and thank you, everyone, for the support. I come from a podcast community that we used to shout out the names of the individuals that supported you, but I don't want to break my train of thought just to say, hello, Fred. So put that across the screen, let you know that I am acknowledging that you are here to support me. I'm going to go back to something I've been promoting for the last 3 weeks. This is something I have been promoting for the last 3 weeks, and I will continue to support this until my sister, Lauren Underwood, a lawmaker here in Illinois, she's part of the House of Representatives. She created what is called the Momness Bill. It's the Black Maternal Health Bill. It is on the table. She needs sponsorship. So I need you. I need YOU. You and somebody else you know to call their U.S. Senator, the U.S. House of Representatives. If you don't know the person who supports you, who's elected to office for your office, all you have to do is dial 202-225-3121. 202-225-3121. That's the number to the House of Representatives in Washington, D.C. You should call, let them know that you're a registered voter in whatever state or whatever county you live in, or whatever area you live in, and let them know that you're a registered voter and you need them to support the Momness Bill. And after you do that, make a phone call to 202-224-3121. That is every U.S. Senator in the United States of America. The United States, the USA. It is 100 of them. It's 2 in each state. It's 50 states. It's 100 of them. Let them know again, I am a registered voter in the state of California, the state of Illinois, the state of New York, Texas, Illinois, where I'm at, Mississippi, Georgia, Alabama, wherever you listening from, let them know that you want to support this. If you have a mother, all of us do. If you have a grandmother, all of us do. If you have anybody in your family who is of the female persuasion, or if you have a son with a significant other, or if you have a cousin or aunt or whatever, all us have those things. What we need to do is make sure Black women health is being supported. 1,100 women died last year giving birth. 80% of those women could have been saved. All you have to do is support this sister, supporting other sisters, and we can get this taken care of. Again, just to make sure, in the event that you showed up late, I need you to call your U.S. Senator and the House of Representatives person at 202-225-3121, 202-225-3121. That is the House of Representatives. That is in D.C. And I need you to call the Senate in D.C., 202-224-3121. This is imperative. You got women dying at a 60% higher clip. 60. It is more dangerous to have a baby as a woman in the United States of America than it was in 1965. I pause to let that soak in. It is more dangerous to have a baby in the United States of America in 2023, with all the technological advances, with all the medical advances, with all this genius in the most powerful country in the world. This, of the dominant countries in the world, or what they try to say the most developed country, because they used to call other countries third world countries, this is the most dangerous place on earth of the richest countries in the world to have a baby. But we can change that if you step up and do your part. And of that 60% higher, Black women are 32% higher than that. So your sister, your aunt, your niece, your nephew, your cousin, your neighbor, your homeboy's daughter, and so forth and so on, they are in danger. They are in danger. So I need you to step up and do your part so we can get this thing cracking. It's important that you do this. It is not important that you sit back and watch. I appreciate you tuning in, but more than tuning in, I need you to dial one of those phone numbers. And again, I'm going to put the thank you up on the screen because I do need to acknowledge you are supporting me, because without you, I'm just a dude sitting at the crib talking to himself. So there you go. Hello, everyone. Thank you for the support. With that being said, as usual, we dealing with a bunch of foolishness, a bunch of madness, and a bunch of chaos because we are Black people in the United States of America. Foolishness, madness, and chaos. That's what we major in the United States of America. When you Black, sorry, that's just what it is. You don't have to acknowledge, oh man, you being hyperbolic, rap, you over the top with it. Well, all I know is this. The next time you drive down the street and if you hear boop, 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 if you get a little tense, you understand what I'm talking about. But what I want to do today, the title of the program is it's a blessing in the lesson. It's a blessing in a lesson. The lesson this week is, for months now, every time I come on, just about every week, I mention either the state of Texas or the state of Florida. And I talk about how the people, these wicked people who control the United States of America, they put stuff in Texas, they put stuff in Florida, and it germinate through the rest of the country, right? Cool. I got some good news coming out the state of Texas. It's kind of good news. The Crown Act. For those who don't know what the Crown Act is, the Crown Act is a bill, it's a legislative bill that is being bandied about each one of the states, and they are allowing us as Black people, especially Black women, but primarily black women, but it's an all-inclusive bill, to be able to wear our hair the way we want to wear it. Some of our brothers lock their hair up. Some of our sisters lock their hair up. Some of our sisters, this thing about 15 years ago, maybe even 20 years ago, a lot of sisters started wearing their hair natural because we found out the chemicals in that lye and the other chemicals in the Dark and Lovely products are inducing cancer into our sisters. It helps you get cancer. Nerd alert, that acrylic that y'all putting on y'all nails, my sisters, and some of our brothers who get their manicures, that helps with cancer. That contributes to the infection of cancer into your cells as well. So Keep that in mind as well. So, but back to the point. A lot of our sisters are wearing their hair natural. They are no longer putting these chemicals in their hair. They are no longer adapting to the non-melanated way of living. Because I told y'all, white is a social construct. Ain't no such thing as white. Once you leave the United States of America, nobody's calling themselves white. Unless you're some clown bigot and you think you some Aryan. And then you're a white power. But see, you're a goofball too. But we're not going to focus on them. A lot of our sisters and brothers, a lot of our brothers been natural. You know, Ice-T, shout out to Ice-T. Get rid of the perm. I'm kidding, but ain't nothing all the time serious, no way. But a lot of our sisters have got away from straightening their hair unless they do it with heat. And a lot of sisters ain't doing that anymore. But anyway, a lot of these places of employment, and we've been trained to believe professional is looking more Anglo-Saxon or European. Straighten out your hair because that looks more professional. No, looking professional is washing your behind, being well groomed, and showing up in your best representation of yourself. Just because your hair does not reach up to God and reach up to the sunlight and bring back power for you, don't get upset with me. And you even got universities like Hampton University in the MBA program. You cannot lock your hair. You cannot braid your hair. You must have straightened hair. This shows you the love of white nationalism that's been induced in us since the beginning of this country. We've been taught that their ice is colder. The darker you are, the less attractive you are. The fuller your lips are, the less attractive you are. You want to be more European looking, and that's just not the case. You love who you love, but you must love yourself first. You love who you love, but you must love yourself first. So, it's the sister didn't write her name down, and apologies to the sister. When I come back from the break from the first video, I will have that sister's name. She created what is called the Crown Act, meaning I could wear my hair the way it grows out of my head. I've seen and heard dozens of women say, hey, when I first went natural, I started getting funny looks, and then they'll braid their hair, and that's more presentable to our white brothers and sisters. Say, oh, you look so nice. And I was looking nice with my nice hair. I was looking nice with my twist. I was looking nice with my fro. Sisters looking nice, period. Brothers looking good with them dreads. They locked up with their locks. Sisters looking good with their locks, because they don't get mad at us because we can present ourselves in several different alliterations. That's not our issue, that you can't do that. And if you can do it, and you may enjoy it as well. But in the state of Texas, this bill, this Crown Act was passed. And on the surface, that's a point of celebration. We won a battle. Indeed, we did. But I know somebody. I got somebody in my life who wear their hair natural, and they working in corporate America. So was it really an advantage? Or was it just a red herring to make you seem as if we're going to give you this, and then we're going to do something else on the back end? We must be aware of any gifts given by the people of the dominant society, because there's always some BS on the back end. But instead of not enjoying this victory, instead of not celebrating this victory and bringing a wet blanket to this victory, what I am going to do is this. I'm going to tell us to do what I've been asking us to do for the last umpteen weeks, for at least the last 3 years doing this program right here. What I'm going to ask us to do is this. You see, in order for this to be passed, there had to be a number of black and brown people who are allies and some European origin, and some of our people, our brothers and sisters, were of European descent in the House of Legislation and the lawmakers in Texas. They had to be on board with this, which means if you can get this approved and you can get it, that means you can get something else approved. That means you can get rid of this clown Greg Abbott. That means you can get rid of Rafael Cruz. That means you can do what you want to do in the state of Texas and throughout the United States of America if we move in one direction. Stop identifying what's wrong and understand it's always going to be something wrong. We live in a wicked society. We have wicked people who are in charge. So it's always going to be a fight. But understand how you won this fight. take your victory lap. But understand, as you taking your victory lap, you need, when you get halfway through that lap, you need to be plotting on your next fight. And that's what we need to do. The Crown Act being passed in the state of Texas, hopefully it'll spread through the other 49 states. That would be awesome. Well, some have been passed already. New York, I think Georgia, I'm pretty sure Georgia, and other states has already been passed. So with that being said, acknowledge that. But understand, this is only the first step in the acknowledgement. Oh man, voting don't count. Yes, it does. This is proof positive that voting counts. But voting is only the screwdriver in a toolbox. In order to make a toolbox something besides a paperweight, you must use every tool in the toolbox. You must use everything that you have in that box to get what you need. If you're fixing a flight of stairs, you need nails, you need screws, you need a drill, you need screwdrivers, you need a hammer, you need everything. You just can't just show up with a hammer and fix what you want. So voting is one thing. And again, just like I just asked you to do right here, in regards to this bill right here, the Omnibus Act, I need you to call your person in the House of Representatives. I need you to call a person in the Senate. I need you to acknowledge that, hey, step one is voting. You get HRAP in office. Now, what you need to do is stand on HRAP's neck and say, hey, and leave a message once a week if you have to. Hey, this is part of your campaign promises. This is what you said you were going to do, and this is what I need in addition to that. Like I ask every week, the three questions I ask every week: what do we need? What do we want? And how do we get it? What do we need? We need freedom. We need opportunities. We need the ability to move about this country freely. Safety. All right. What do we want? We want a living wage. We want property in our own names. We want prosperity and happiness. How do we get it? Galvanizing the community, coming together as one. Stop listening to these jackleg dudes like Charlamagne and DJ Envy, who sat up there and lied on Sister Kamala Harris a couple of weeks ago. She never said nothing. Well, no, you don't watch, and you just shooting your mouth off without loading up your brain. See, it's easy to say what someone hasn't done when you haven't looked into what they do. See, we've been so programmed to attack anything that's like us that we don't even check. We just assume she ain't do it. Oh, see, I don't like Kamala Harris because she was locking up people. Well, what we're going to do is work together and stop our brothers and sisters from breaking the law. And once you stop our brothers and sisters from consistently breaking the law, because the law is going to be criminals no matter what happens. But if we start working together and getting our young brothers and our young sisters something to do, that will reduce the number of people committing nefarious acts. And when that reduces, you will have people going in a positive direction. When you have more people going in a positive direction, what happens? You get the crime rate reduced, and so on and so on and so on. People love to reference old school things and, oh man, this happened, this and this happened, that. But you ever notice they only bring up the past when it's detrimental to our past, or when they show you how we got kicked in the head in the past. Well, I don't know why they bring up stuff, our glorious past. Like, for example, you heard about Black Wall Street. You hear about Black Wall Street every day. All that. They don't have no problem bringing up Black Wall Street. You know why? Because we came up and then they decimated it. That's their way of saying do something. And it's also a way of subliminally letting you know whatever you do will destroy. But just like, this is what I want you to do. Going forward, pay attention to what it's called nature. Nature teaches you how to deal with anything around you. What do I mean by that? You have hunters, and they have decimated the landscape here in America. Used to be tens of thousands of buffalo, not many of them. Used to be thousands of eagles and condors, not many of those animals left us. And there's a bunch of animals that are no longer here because people came to this land and decimated the landscape, right? But you know what? For those eagles that are still here, they still flying around. They won't cower and hide in the trees and duck folks. They go on about their business. Most young men play with bugs. I don't know if you young men do that anymore, but when I was a young man, we used to play with bugs. We would destroy we would mess up the ecosystem and catch grasshoppers and pick on ants and make, call ourselves making them fight, stuff like that. I used to catch snakes. Yeah, in Chicago, I call snakes. Yeah. 35th and Cottage Grove, we used to catch snakes. It was called I forgot what it was called, but the Big Oak. That's what they used to call the lot. We used to catch snakes. But we were doing that. But one thing, the snakes didn't go away. The rats didn't go away. I wasn't playing with no rats. I don't mess with no rats. But the bugs didn't go away. If you ever look at an anthill, if you kick over an anthill, the next day it's going to be an anthill right where you kicked it over there. You know why? Because the ants, they're focusing on what they have to do versus what was done to them. They acknowledge what was done to them. They have no problem with what was done to them. But at the end of the day, they are focused on getting the job done. Whatever. You run off some squirrels, they're going to run away from you and then get back to what they were doing. Nature understands that there will be disruptions, but you need to get back and play with what you were doing. And that's what my community needs to do. My people, we need to realize, yeah, there are a bunch of bigots, there are a bunch of racists, there are laws set up like loitering. Loitering was created right after the emancipation. And it said, if you didn't have a job for 28 days, we can lock you up. The reason they created that law is because they wanted to lock you up because they said slavery is illegal unless you break the law. So we're going to create laws to put you back in slavery, put you back on the plantation that the man who used to own you. So we understand that. Now, what do? Like Sankofa, we look at our past, so we understand why we are where we are in the present and how to navigate in the future. That is what Sankofa is all about. If you don't know what Sankofa is, look it up. Do yourself a favor, look it up. These are the things that we have to stop looking at Black Wall Street and saying, man, we used to. Look, it's another fun fact. When they talk about Black Wall Street, we always talk about black on black crime. Do you know what the crime rate was in the area of Greenwood and Pine in Tulsa, Oklahoma? Zero. The crime rate was zero. You had thousands of black people working for someone, working for white folks, a lot of them working for us, and a lot of them working for us, and a lot of people doing their own thing. And it was zero. The crime rate was zero. Absolutely zero. So I'm telling you this because I'm saying we're not genetically predisposed to commit crime. We didn't wake up one day and say, you know what? It's time to kill somebody. It's time to steal. It's time to rob. It's time to do something wrong. No. A lot of people commit crimes due to their circumstance. I have literally seen guys who said, nope, I ain't doing no more schoolwork. I'm finna go out here and get on this corner. I've seen guys like that. Guy who had a mother taking good care of him. I can think of two people right off the top of my head, one from the west side, one from the north side, had solid parents, and they just said, I'm going into crime. But by and large, the people who turn to nefarious activities is because they don't have anything else to do. They think they've hit the end of the road. I had the privilege of being born on the west side of Chicago, being raised on the north side of Chicago. I had privileges on the north side of Chicago while I was surrounded by affluence that I didn't have on the west side of Chicago. And that's just the fact. So I watched people blow opportunity after opportunity, and they didn't get a chance to get started. If you read the book Malcolm X, he speaks about it. I'm not making excuses for anybody in the history of the world. I'm just letting you know certain circumstances put you in situations to whereas you think you don't have another way but crime. And I've told this story a dozen times if I've told it once. Myself saw my sisters playing the piccolo, playing the clarinet, playing the flute. Saw my cousin playing the trumpet, playing the saxophone. So I wanted to play the trumpet and the saxophone. They were in 1980, President Ronald Wilson Reagan defunded the schools. And guess what? A lot of the music and arts were gone, and it left sports. Now they're defunding the sports program. And guess what? No arts, no arts, no music, no sports. What else are the young people to do? Commit crimes. Is that an excuse? No, it's not. It's just acknowledging the reality of a situation. Everyone didn't have Dolores and Nat Pollard as their mother. Everybody didn't have my grandmother, mother there. Everybody didn't have Lois, and so everybody who connected to them. Those people, everybody don't have the benefits that we have. A lot of us think some of the stuff that our parents instilled in us. Everybody parents do that. No, everybody parents don't. So just because you had good enough parents to instill quality values in you or put you in a position to where you didn't worry about what you didn't have, you just was glad to have what you did. Don't think everybody had what you had. I'm just letting you know. With that being said, I want you to understand, if we don't galvanize our community, I just talked to a brother today. He gonna be on. He gonna be on shortly. He had a line of cigars. I want you guys to support this brother, my man, Big Illinois, and my big bro Keith, big boy. We gonna support this brother because we need to support people. He down in Mississippi, in Jackson, Mississippi. We need to support everybody. Enough of this always spending our money with everybody else. We need to spend our money with each other. And that's how you get opportunity. That's why you want an opportunity, you must create another opportunity for somebody else. Point blank, period, end of sentence. You want me to watch your program? Come watch mine. Me and April Showers do that all the time. My partners in this, DJ Mad Knox had a show earlier today. Number One Chief Rocker had a show yesterday. They both have a show tomorrow and Thursday. If you want support, you must give support. Point blank here, my man Jungle Brother just started his own network. It's a cyclical thing. If we don't support each other, don't look for no support. And stop counting how many times somebody supports you. If they bought one product from you, that's all they need to do. They ain't got to spend their whole check on you. But back to what I'm talking about. Look, we must galvanize and put ourselves in a better situation. Otherwise, as Dr. Claude Anderson said this 15 years ago, he said we had 6 years then, and it's been 11 years after his 6-year period. So what I want you to understand is this. We still have an opportunity to save ourselves. We still have an opportunity to do what we have to do to make sure we are living in the best possible situation. But what we have to do now, right now, not now, is stop bickering and arguing and pointing the finger and identifying problems unless you have a solution. Hopefully, I bring to you solutions every Tuesday. Every Tuesday, I pray that I'm bringing you solutions. And if you have a solution, you're more than welcome to enter the platform. Here's a solution I'm giving you about health and wellness. Our good brother, Jamie Foxx, say a prayer for our good brother, Jamie Foxx. From what I understand, everything I'm reading, Jamie Foxx had a mild stroke. He's doing better. With that being said, I am going to play this thing about health and wellness so we can put ourselves in a better situation. We can get ourselves spiritually in line, financially in line, physically in line, and then our community be in line. It's your man HYB. This is Build and Destroy. I'm built for this network. Y'all already know what it is.
The top 6 drinks that lower blood pressure naturally. Hypertension is a condition where your heart is working harder than normal to pump blood through your body. The problem with this is that over time, the added pressure can put a strain on the walls and the pipework of your arteries, causing them to become very stiff, rigid, and inflamed. Eventually, the arteries get so damaged they begin to have these lesions like leaky pipes, and the body builds up cholesterol plaque to try and patch up the damage. This plaque can then block the normal blood flow, triggering a heart attack, a stroke, or poor oxygen supply to your other organs, which can cause a whole host of other problems that you really don't want. But why do you get high blood pressure in the first place? Well, the most common cause of high blood pressure is emotional stress, which raises your cortisol levels. This is a hormone that tightens your blood vessels and makes your heart work harder. Another cause is simply having a buildup of visceral fat inside your belly, which physically presses against your blood vessels and puts a strain on the heart. And the other common cause is being deficient in magnesium, potassium, calcium, or vitamin D, which are all essential nutrients for a healthy vascular system, along with generally just having an unhealthy lifestyle. smoking, drinking alcohol, taking lots of drugs or medications, which can all have an effect on your blood pressure. In my other videos, we talk more about the underlying causes of high blood pressure and how to correct your diet. In this video, however, we will be sharing 6 very simple drinks that you can use to lower high blood pressure and bring it back within the normal range. Just my usual reminder, this video is for educational purposes only, so do speak to your doctor if you have any medical concerns. Number 1 is hibiscus tea. One of the best natural remedies for lowering blood pressure is a herbal tea made from bright red hibiscus flowers. Simply steep 1 organic hibiscus tea bag in warm water for 3 to 4 minutes and then drink this twice per day for a minimum of 6 weeks. Studies show that this floral herb is as powerful as antihypertensive medications in lowering blood pressure. You see, hibiscus contains powerful anthocyanins, which give it the red color, which work as a natural ACE inhibitor. This helps to relax your blood vessels in order to bring your blood pressure back to normal. The second powerful remedy is garlic water. For this recipe, you'll want to crush 2 cloves of garlic and add them to 16 ounces of water. Add a squeeze of fresh lemon juice and 1 teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil. Let this mixture sit in the refrigerator for an hour and then drink in the morning on an empty stomach. Cold garlic tea is yet another extremely powerful remedy to lower blood pressure because, like hibiscus, it too contains antihypertensive phytonutrients. One of the main components of garlic is called allicin, a plant chemical which helps to naturally thin your blood so that it can flow freely through your vascular system and lower your blood pressure. Allicin from garlic has also been shown to block platelets from clumping together and forming a clot that may have triggered a heart attack or a stroke. Please make sure that you do include the extra virgin olive oil in this drink, as this fat helps your body absorb the phytonutrients from the garlic, and it also helps to reduce the risk of heart disease. If you're finding this information helpful so far, please hit the like, subscribe, and turn all notifications on to stay updated with my latest health and nutrition tips. Coming back now to number 3, which is celery juice. Celery is undoubtedly one of the best foods in the world for supporting healthy blood pressure levels and maintaining a healthy heart. These stalks are rich in phthalates. This is a group of plant chemicals that relax the smooth muscle in the artery walls and the heart, allowing the blood to flow more freely and naturally lowering your blood pressure. You can use a juicer or simply blend 4 stalks of celery and strain the mixture and then drink this once per day. This mixture must be made fresh daily to get the full effect, so don't store it overnight. Celery juice also contains apigenin, another chemical that lowers cortisol. This is the stress hormone that's often responsible for high blood pressure or hypertension.
In the town where I was born, lived a man.
When you're drinking this celery juice, you may also notice that your sleep improves at night. You may feel more relaxed and focused throughout the day, and your skin may begin to appear brighter with a healthy and natural glow. Now, I want to share with you a healthy electrolyte drink that you can make at home to support the electrical system of your heart. Add the pulp of 1 avocado, 1 whole organic unwaxed lemon with the peel still on, and 1 cup of blueberries to a blender with 16 ounces of water. Process this and then drink it once per day. Feel free to add a little stevia or a natural sweetener of your choice if it's a little too bitter. This is an extremely powerful health tonic that's loaded with magnesium, potassium, vitamin C, and E, which all play an important role in cardiovascular health and in bringing your blood pressure back to normal. The magnesium and potassium minerals in particular are electrolytes, which support the electrical system in the chambers of your heart, keeping your heart beating in a regular rhythm. Now, the next remedy is for people who often feel uptight, stressed, or anxious. Ashwagandha is a herb that's been used in India for thousands of years to help the body adapt to stress. This herb is classified as an adaptogen, meaning that it supports the body's delicate balance of all things, including your blood pressure, immune cells, your pH, your temperature, etc. You can purchase ashwagandha root tea in health food stores or online, or you can just take it as a supplement. One of the main benefits of ashwagandha is its ability to lower cortisol, the stress hormone that makes your blood vessels tight and often causes high blood pressure. Ashwagandha actually helps to calm down the fight or flight stress response so that you can relax, and then the tension is released from the smooth muscle of your blood vessels. And finally, we have number 6, which is amla juice. In one study, amla, also known as the Indian gooseberry, was shown to be one of the most powerful natural remedies for lowering blood pressure. You can purchase cold-pressed amla juice in health food stores, but do make sure that it's unpasteurized and it contains no additives or sugar. Amla juice is very bitter and is one of the richest sources of real vitamin C on the planet, which helps to normalize cholesterol levels and widen your blood vessels in order to lower your blood pressure. Amla also acts as a natural ACE inhibitor without the common side effects that are associated with medication. Alternatively, you can get freeze-dried amla powder and add it to your ALB electrolyte drink that I just talked about. However, this will be bitter, so you may need a little more stevia to sweeten it. As you've seen in this video, there are many healthy tonics that you can use to lower your blood pressure naturally, in addition to improving your diet. So try out one of these remedies for 4 weeks and keep checking your blood pressure to see if it has a positive impact. If not, try another one of the remedies and find which works best for you. Be sure to speak to your doctor, however, if you're taking any blood pressure medication, as these remedies may double the effect and trigger low blood pressure, which you don't want either. Now let's take a look at some other ways that you can lower your blood pressure. 1. Stop snacking and eating too frequently throughout the day and eat 2 solid meals full of nutrient-dense foods. This will help to normalize your insulin and cortisol hormones, which in turn can help to lower your blood pressure. 2. Cut out the sugar, the refined flour, and the junk foods as much as possible. Replace these with nutrient-dense foods like wild salmon, grass-fed meats, avocados, celery, and cruciferous vegetables. 3. Start taking 20,000 international units of vitamin D3 daily and 200 micrograms of vitamin K2. Vitamin D is a healthy steroid hormone which is very potent for lowering high blood pressure, whilst the vitamin K2 helps to prevent calcification and stiffness of the arteries. 4. Lower your stress levels by getting regular low-stress exercise. Take long walks, do bike rides, swim, and do cardio. This improves the tone of the muscles in your arteries and heart to balance your blood pressure. 5. Cut out alcohol and stop smoking. These deplete your vitamin C and wreak havoc on your nervous system over time, which can damage your blood vessels and trigger high blood pressure. And 6. Sleep is essential to control your blood pressure. Improve your sleep quality by turning off all of your devices and lights 1 hour before you sleep, and allow yourself more time to wind down. You can also use lavender essential oil or mists in the bedroom to induce melatonin, the sleep hormone which also helps to lower your blood pressure. If you'd like to go deeper and learn more about the top 10 foods.
I'm back. This your man H-Rap coming at you live and direct. Thank you for tuning in. This is Build and Destroy. Thank you for tuning in again. And if you are just tuning in, I want you to hit that like button, that thumbs up button, depending on which outlet you're looking at me on. Thank you. Now, I'm going to take a small break shortly. I just want to talk about this one guy. I know I promote voting. I promote getting involved, getting into it, but a lot of us will vote on the strength of color of skin. And in a lot of cases, that's just not the best way to look at it. I understand that we want to support our own. The entire series here is called the Black Power series. So I understand in a lot of cases, we don't trust people that don't look like us. And we promote, hey, man, he the black dude. He got to be what's best for us. I got 2 people I want to talk about before I go to the next video because I only had a short period of time today. First, I'm going to talk about this guy by the name of Tim Scott. You got a brother named Tim Scott. He's a senator in the great state of South Carolina. Tim Scott is putting out feelers to attempt to run for president of the United States of America. Bad move, Tim. You barely won the state of South Carolina where you're from. Maybe you need to just sit down for a little while. It's not going to happen. But anyway, Brother Scott, or Mr. Scott, I should say, he is catering to the people who are doing everything they can to hold us back. Some people, I've had family members ask me, why you hate white people so much? I don't have time to hate white people. I just love being black. And if you are a detriment to that, I really don't have a whole lot of time and energy for you. The reason I'm bringing up Brother Tim Scott, at the beginning of his campaign, he has a commercial. And he goes to the very first place where the very first shot was fired in the Civil War. He mentioned inability to see things fairly. He mentioned discrimination. He mentioned tricks by the left, the Democratic Party. But I have a problem with this brother. Not because of his politics, not because he lied, not because he slowed down defunding the police, not because he slowed down Build Back Better, because those things are enough to piss anybody off, because those things have a direct effect on our community. I have a problem with a black man talking about the Civil War in the United States of America and never bringing up the word enslaved African people, the words enslaved African people at all. The Civil War, contrary to this rhetoric that the right-wing Republican Party and a lot of people who are being silent and who are just as diametrically opposed to our advancement are bringing up, is that war was fought to enslave our ancestors. Oh no, it was fought for states' rights. Yes, it was fought for states' rights. Certain states wanted the right to own African bodies. They are not slaves. There is no country called slave and you go get them and bring them over here, then they become slaves in America. No, they are people from Africa who were captured as prisoners of war, brought over here and attempted to be dehumanized and enslaved for a couple hundred years. So for you to be a man from the great state of South Carolina, which at one point had more black people than white people up into the 1940s, until they start offering land grants and white folks started moving down there to get free land, it was more black people in that state than white people. When enslavement started in that area and you don't even have the intestinal fortitude to acknowledge your ancestors. This is a dark-skinned brother too. So this dude probably is fresh off the Yoruba Igbo tribe. It's a very good chance that you are a direct descendant of those people. And for you to totally ignore them is a total slap in your and their face and our face. And quite frankly, I feel you need a slap to your face. Second brother I want to bring up before I come to this next video is a brother by the name of Clarence Thomas. This is why we must get in play, get involved, and get into it in regards to elections, because elections count. I remember when Brother Clarence Thomas was up for the appointment for the Supreme Court, and they played the black card because they knew we would get behind him because he was a black man, and we wanted to replace Thurgood Marshall with another black man. He disgraced Anita Hill, putting pubic hairs on a soda from what I remember and things of that nature, sexually harassed her. He shouldn't have been appointed, and he wasn't the guy for the job. But people like Joseph Biden, who had the ability to shoot him down, he didn't. He's problematic as all get out, but this is not his segment. This is a dude who's being sent on trips and his vacations are being funded by white nationalists. His wife allegedly is part of the insurrection, January 6th. People jokingly call her the 10th Supreme Court Justice because she's his puppet master. The guys like this, look, it's not about Republican or Democrat because none of them like us. Because it doesn't make it. I'm not going to go into that. It's not about Republican or Democrat. It's about righteous and the wicked. These people are doing everything they can to ensure that you remain in the system, in our community, and other underserved communities remain exactly where they are. So instead of just voting for the brother, let's start looking into these people and supporting the brother. Let's start looking into these people and looking at their track record before we give them one iota of support, because a lot of people don't deserve our support. With that being said, I'm gonna give you this moment in history, and then I'm gonna shut the show down with some gun control conversation. This your man H-Rap-B.
Is medicine. It pays respect to Hippocrates, a Greek practitioner of medicine in the ancient Western world. The Hippocratic Oath pays homage to all forces and people that helped Hippocrates develop the medicine profession. Hippocrates is widely known as the father of medicine, but with a careful study of African history, you discover that Hippocrates is not the real father of medicine. The real father of medicine is an African Kemetic Egyptian black man named Imhotep. He is the first personality in recorded history about whom much is known. The great Imhotep was the world's first multi-genius. Imhotep's African name means he who comes in peace. He was a scientist, scribe, philosopher, astronomer, mathematician, architect, historian, and doctor.
Now this bears repeating. He was a scientist, scribe, philosopher, astronomer, mathematician, architect, historian, and a doctor. This man maximized his ability to create and his ability to be the best that he can be. We all have the potential of Imhotep running through our veins. I encourage us all, let's not waste our abilities and our talents.
He built the world's first pyramid at Saqqara in Kemet thousands of years before Judaism, Christianity, and Al-Islam even existed. The step pyramid is still around today in Kemet. Its complex contains the oldest masonry building in the world.
He is credited with inventing the method of stone dress building and using the columns in architecture, and is considered to be the first architect in history known by name. I say he is the first architect in history known by name. Imhotep, a black man.
Imhotep built the step pyramid in 2630 BCE for King Dozier. Following Imhotep's example, new architects arose to construct the Great Pyramids of Giza in honor of pharaohs Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure. The Great Pyramids of Giza were created by African Kemetic people before there existed Western religions. They are the great wonders of the world. All this momentous construction in Kemet happened before the invasions of the Greeks, Romans, Muslims, and Arabs. Kemet comes from the hieroglyphics, or Midu Nater, the African word for hieroglyphics. That means the land of the blacks.
Again, these great structures were built before the invasions of the Greeks, Romans, Arabs, and Muslims. According to historian Dr. Teofil Abinga, Egyptian hieroglyph writing is the oldest writing system in the world, dating to the age of African antiquity as far back as 3400 BC, when the pre-dynastic Nubians of Egypt developed the Metonetra writing system in the Nile Valley during the era of the Kemetic civilization.
Unfortunately, the Western mindset and the system of racism have whitewashed him in history. In other words, racist scholars have made Imhotep white or a non-African. However, Hippocrates gives credit to Imhotep in his oath, but he calls him by the Greek name Asclepius. The name Asclepius means god of medicine. Fortunately, despite the obstacle of whitewashing and the system of racism recording false notions about the history of Black people, courageous historians have written the real facts on African history, African culture, and African spirituality. You see, in African history, many Black historians are challenging racist textbooks about the facts on Imhotep. One of the Black historians was the great Joel A. Rogers. He wrote 2 volumes on great Black figures in history.
The first time you made a sale online with GoDaddy was also the first time you heard of a town named Dinosaur, Colorado.
We just got an order from Dinosaur, Colorado.
Start an easy-to-build power.
The name of his book is called The World's Great Men of Color, Volume 1 and 2. Professor Rogers writes extensively about Imhotep in his book called World's Great Men of Color, Volume 1, Chapter 1.
Self-trained historian, novelist, and journalist Joel Augustus Rogers spent most of his life debunking pseudoscientific and racist depictions of people of African ancestry while popularizing the history of persons of Black people around the world.
He goes on to say, when Egyptian civilization crossed the Mediterranean to become the foundation of Greek culture, the teachings of Imhotep were also absorbed there. But as the Greeks were wont to assert that they were the originators of everything, Imhotep was forgotten for thousands of years, and Hippocrates, a legendary figure who lived 2,000 years after him, became known as the father of medicine. It is too often forgot that when the Europeans emerged and began to extend themselves into the broader world of Africa and Asia during the 15th and 16th centuries, they went on to colonize most of mankind. Later, they would colonize world scholarship, mainly the writing of history. History was then written or rewritten to show or imply that Europeans were the only creators of what could be called a civilization. In order to accomplish this, the Europeans had to forget or pretend to forget all they previously knew about Africa.
Thank the Most High Yah that we can read for ourselves now, and we do not have to rely on others to tell our story. Can someone please answer me? Why is it necessary that when the Europeans colonize a country, when they invade a country, they find it necessary to completely erase the history of those people, to completely act like those people never existed and those great accomplishments were all European? And quite frankly, it's a rhetorical question, because I do know my theory and what I believe, but I'm interested to find out, what do other people, why do you feel that the Europeans find it necessary to erase our history in particular, or to act like it never existed, or to put white faces where Black people clearly were the creators of different great structures like the pyramids, and like the great structures that the Moors, the Black Moors, created in Europe, throughout Europe, and all the different inventions. Why is it necessary to erase us? Why is that necessary? And with this critical race theory, why is it necessary to take our story out of history? And let's face it, the Europeans came up with some great inventions like the airplane. And you don't find anyone try to take credit away from them or try to discredit them. But it just seems that it's necessary for them to take credit away from Black people. And when you do your research, and the more you dig, the darker it becomes. And it becomes apparent that our people made a major contribution to this society and to the world we live in. Now, in America, it was illegal at one time for Black people to read. And we were told that we had no history and that we had no past. However, when we began to research and to look and to read for ourselves and interpret for ourselves, we find that not only do we have a history, but we had a great history, a history that we should know in particular, and the world should know as well. The Black Excellence and Abundance Channel, where Black history is every day.
All right, I'm back. This your man H-Rap coming at you to close out the joint. Thank you for tuning in again. And I just got one thing. Well, I got one thing to cover. The last thing I'm going to cover is this. Violence in the community it's at an all-time high. It's getting out of control, and we must do something about it. If you've been watching the news, you saw a bunch of young people really being disrupted downtown Chicago. It was embarrassing. I saw it on CNN. I saw it on MSNBC. I saw it on all the major networks. I saw it all over the world, and it was initially brought to my attention by my man Joe, just Joe. And I just sat back and watched for a couple of days. This happened Saturday night, and it was inexcusable. A lot of people blaming the children. I'm not going to blame somebody whose brain isn't fully developed. Do they know right from wrong? Of course, they should. At the age they look like they're about 15, 16 years old. They should definitely know right from wrong. They are definitely responsible for their actions. But as usual, I blame the parents. I've seen far too many people try to be friends with their children, not set up boundaries and things of that nature. And I think we need to do a better job at this. But something that I think we need to do even better job at is this: gun control. Why did I bring that up right before I brought up gun control? Because there were two horrific shootings this weekend. One done by a black person, other done by a white person. And this wilding out things with the firearms is getting ridiculous. See, it's easy to show on TV a bunch of young black people acting a complete fool here in Chicago because, Chicago's the murder capital of the world and blah, blah, blah. But then we found out this week, Chicago not even in the top 10 of most violent cities in America. So that's just a narrative that's being perpetrated to make a specific group look like they want them to look. And that's why I'm bringing this up. We've had, since the beginning of spring, but not even in the full month of spring, we've had 3 mass shootings. Nobody talks about it. Over the weekend, we had 2 horrific shootings, 2 definitely unnecessary shootings. The first one being a young lady, 7 months pregnant, being accused of stealing at Walgreens. Someone went and told the management team, and one of the employees approached her after she walked to her car, and this young man was maced by her, and he proceeded to fire a semi-automatic pistol at this young lady, hitting her, forcing her into an emergency C-section. Her and the child are still alive, and they're in critical condition. This is a young black man did this. And this young brother has a history of being over the top with his actions. He's in the state of Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, who have some of the most ridiculously loose gun laws in the United States of America. A lot of people always talking about, hey man, I have the right to do this and I have the right to do that. I have the right to do a lot. You have the right to read books too, but you don't do that. You have the right to do a lot of things in this lifetime that we don't exercise these rights. So please don't tell me, you have the right to vote and most people don't vote. We need to do something about these gun laws, because how is it possible that a person is carrying a firearm legally? Now, by the way, this guy was arrested and he's out. He's back on the street. But how is it possible for this dude to obtain a firearm legally after being kicked out of a Best Buy because he was ready to fight because they asked him to leave because they no longer had PlayStation 5s? No charges filed, nothing of that nature. And now he's at a Walgreens as an employee following a patron to her car because she allegedly stole something. Whether she stole something or not, stealing is not a capital crime. Your life shouldn't be taken because you have potentially stolen something. You shouldn't have a firearm if you don't know how to mentally walk through this. The second person, her name, as a matter of fact, her name is Tavana Ferguson. The next person is this young man, 16-year-old young man, not a big young man, about the same size young brother Trayvon Martin was, God rest his soul, Ralph Tyler. 16-year-old young man going to pick up his twin siblings and went to 116 Terrace when he should have went to 116th Street. He knocked on the wrong door, and the person fired on him, shooting him in the head and shooting him in several other places. Again, young Ralph is still alive, thank God. But the question I'm forced to ask is this: why are you walking to your door with a gun? Why are you walking to the door with a loaded gun, ready to fire? Ralph went to other people's houses. He was bloody and went to other people's houses, and those people locked their doors. They not only not attempted to help him, they called the police on a 16-year-old boy who had been shot. Another dude, 80-year-old white man, shoots this 16-year-old black boy because he's not a man. He's not even close to being a man. Because he's 60, he's a boy. He's 16 years old. Why is it that the people who are in charge of this country are hell-bent on stopping abortions? They're hell-bent on not being black, you not being proud to be black. They're hell-bent on transgender people or transgender people reading to toddlers. They want to stop that. But nobody's doing anything about walking into public establishments, shooting up the place, walking into schools, shooting up the place, walking into universities, shooting up the place, walking into nightclubs, shooting up the place, walking into preschool, shooting up the place. And now you want to tell me about your rights. As I started off the show, this is exactly why you need to vote. This is exactly why you need to get involved. Because these two people shouldn't have been shot. Maybe, just maybe, one of them should have been arrested for petty theft. But definitely, young Ralph shouldn't have been shot. All he was doing was going to pick up his twin siblings and bringing them home. And now he has to deal with the trauma of being fired upon, the trauma of people looking at him strange because he's looking for help and doing everything he can to just make sure he sees tomorrow. So, folks, at some point, we are going to have to initiate background checks and other things to allow people to have firearms in this country. Because if the people in charge of this country are so hell-bent on protecting the life of the people who haven't even been born yet, the zygotes, people have, those are cells, you don't know what that is, those are cells that are being prepared to become a child. You definitely need to be worried about the people who are walking around the earth. A lot of gun enthusiasts will hear me say this and say, man, I got the right to carry what I want to carry. You do. But if I need a license to drive a car, if I need a license to ride a motorcycle, if I need a license to be a doctor, if I need a license to be a lawyer, I need the license to do a lot of things in this country. And I need training to do a lot of things in this country. You need to have the same training behind you to have a firearm. And I'm not saying if you have a checkered background, like if you were incarcerated, you don't deserve a gun. You just don't deserve to walk around with a gun. And with that being said, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. And again, call your representatives and let them know that we need some gun laws and we need more stringent gun laws in this country. And if and those laws on the books need to be enforced. Because I'm tired of turning on my TV, tired of hearing the radio, tired of opening up Twitter. And I'm tired of seeing young black men slain by black men and by the police. I'm just sick of it. With that being said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And again, please subscribe, share, tell a friend to tune in because it's important. Thank you for tuning in. I want to salute the people who give me the inspiration to continue to do this. That is the Ghetto Boys, Willie D, and Scarface, Tariq Nasheed, Nori Talib, Kweli, Ray Grady, Zoe Williams, Corey Holcomb, Craig Smith, Sway Calloway, Roland Martin, Al Sharpton, Heather B, Clay Kane, my personal favorite radio personality, Reed Daniel Favors, Dr. Greg Carr, Karen Hunter, and Joe Madison. With that being said, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Continue to support. Thank you. More riveting information on the horizon. And as I say, I salute Reggie O'Shea every week by saying, dream those dreams and man up and woman up and live those dreams, because life with dreams flows in black and white. Life without dreams flows in technicolor surround sound. And I say this, an African proverb, and it goes like this. If you want to go somewhere, get up and go. If you want to go far, go with someone.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
We lust for that cheese, we lose sleep, dreams of that cream. We killing our teens, they dying for this American dream. Them government schemes, they turning us to hustlers and fiends. We hustling trees, them politicians smuggling green. Chasing that cheese, got everybody stressed in the streets. Pardon me for speaking freely, let it breathe. Evangelists preach the congregations out of their seats. They writing them checks for tithes, now it's people can't eat. She stripping for change for school, now she giving them brain. She used to that loot, she earning, now she giving them strain. He new to this game, but hungry, so he cooking his cane. He getting that paper, but then they gave him 2 to the brain. It's rules to this game, but hustlers never hustle for fame. The spirit of greed is grimy, so we struggle to change. They put us in chains to take away our African names. But if we submissive and don't resist, then who do we blame? It's all a game, man. These Europeans staking they claim. And you a victim of their game plan. You thinking they ain't, you thinking they saints. Remember all them niggas they hang? Killed our women and our children, all our leaders is slain. They gave us Obama, but that nigga was hoping for change. But Zimmerman is killing niggas and he free. Shit is crazy, babies having these babies and getting checked. But keep the child from they pop to rip his heart out his chest. Our rappers was leaders and now they in the booth in the dress. Spitting bullshit and making more but giving us less. They taking our sound and changing ours, dumbing it down. They taking our jobs and homes and they shutting us out. They taking our kids because it ain't a man in the house. They locking us down, but soon they gon' be wiping us out. They told our women they was too independent to need a man. They told our brother he was too insignificant to advance. It's all a game, man. These Europeans staking they claim. And you a victim of their game plan. You thinking they ain't, you thinking they saints. Remember all them niggas they hang? Killed our women and our children, all our leaders is slain. It's all a game.